Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Landcast. This is Brandon Chasteen. I'm here with my brother, Jeremy Chasteen. Together, we run Chasteen Land and Title. How are you doing, Jeremy?
Doing great.
So today we are joined by Neil McCrary. Neil, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same. You met my brother with a kind of
Yep.
really small world. You guys just met, yesterday?
Yeah, well, we talked on the phone a couple weeks ago about doing this podcast. And then yesterday, we were closing on a couple pieces of property that one of them his dad owns, and then one of them was owned by him and his dad through a company. So he walks into the door. I had seen his name, and I had not put two and two together at all until he mentioned that we were going to be talking again tomorrow on a podcast. And I was like,
That's fun. And I think I've seen you around some IOGA conferences or something like that.
Oh, I imagine you have.
For those who don't know, Chastain Land and Title also owns Gibson County Land and Title down in Gibson County. And so that's where we do some closings down there, and that's where you guys met. So anyways, Neil, tell us a bit about yourself and who you're with.
I'm Neil McCrary, and my wife and I, Melissa, we own the Scout Check Report. It's a long-time publication that reports on oil goings-on, for lack of a better term, in the Illinois Basin, Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois. We put out 2 weekly reports that are sent to subscribers throughout the United States. Bought it last in December of 24.
Okay.
It's only had 3 owners. We're the third owners. It started in 1960. Jim Cofferoth, who I purchased it from, has had run it since 1989. So we have big shoes to fill, but it's something I've always enjoyed reading it as a subscriber, I guess, for maybe 20 years, and it's a little overwhelmed and at the prospect of it, but I wanted to see it continue, and really has been rewarding and enjoyable.
That's great. So you do that with your wife?
She puts in the ads where you see on page 2, and the news throughout the basin. She edits that as well. So it's kind of a team effort.
You said it's bi-weekly, or it's twice a week. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I have a drilling report comes out on Tuesday that tracks all the rigs running in the basin. And then on Wednesday, we put out a progress report that tracks activity completions, wells that are put on and pumping and so forth.
And that by email or physical copies? Or
Yeah, it was physical copies until I believe 2023. And that's sort of the reason I got into it. That's a pretty daunting task to put out physical copies anymore. So
yeah,
worked out well. Yeah.
Well, that's great. What led you to want to buy that and get into that?
Just really as a fan, I suppose, and kind of been blessed with a lot of knowledge, mostly of Indiana. Indiana or Illinois and Kentucky were a challenge just because of the regulatory reporting on and how each state, what they put out, what information they put out, how timely they put it out. But the interesting part of it, I think, was just from being a fan and kind of knowing that this is something I thought I could do. And sort of I wouldn't say retirement, but coincidentally, I've been in the oil production management business since I was around 23. So now I'm sort of wanted a little new challenge.
I kind of assumed that. I actually didn't know how long you had owned Scout Check. But so can you just go through kind of your history with oil and gas, like how you got started in oil and gas and your career? Sort
of like you'll hear from a lot of different people in our industry, at least the smaller basins. Long family history. My dad, who you met yesterday, has been started in the oil field when I believe he was 14, 15 years old. Came back to it at 19 or 20, tried the factory, and he just wasn't for him. But his dad worked in the oil field, my mom's dad. So it's a lineage like you'll find. But I was kind of like one of those, like a lot of kids I hear from all different people. It's like their parents, no, you don't want to do this. Although I was raised in it, you need to kind of find something better, right?
Yeah.
But gravitated back towards it. I've spent some time with thoroughbreds, 18 to 23, I was on the racetrack full time.
That's interesting.
So yeah, Churchill Downs. This is a big, obviously, weekend. So
Yeah, that's right.
Still involved, sorta, with that, but having that background, I came back here to Pike County in Petersburg when I believe I was 23, and just started slowly getting into it and doing all the kind of field work and those tough jobs, and did those for a while. So that was the start of it, and then it just sort of blossomed to where became kind of operations manager for our operation.
And would that be operations management for like your dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And we, oh gosh, so that was 1993 till we just sold. We had 21 wells remaining. At January 1st, we divested of those.
Okay.
And so I'm full-time scout check now. But we at one point had 300 plus wells. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah, a lot to do.
Was y'all's production primarily in Indiana, or did you have Illinois as well?
Yeah, it was nice because we were based near Petersburg, and I would say most of the time, all of our stuff was within 10-mile radius.
Oh, wow.
10, 15 miles. Yeah. And that's kind of the heart of the Indiana, but yesterday by Princeton, you still see a lot of activity there. A lot of it extends now into Posey County and New Harmony, Griffith areas, kind of the big deal now. But Union Bowman, where we worked, is a big field as well. 30 million barrels over since the early 1900s.
That's great.
So let's take a step back from there. Then
sure.
So you got in it through your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys have is there a long lineage of McCrarys in the industry?
My dad from 1960 drilled his first well. I guess he was probably 25. So cool. But yeah. And his dad pumped wells, which did checks, and so just going back that far, that was probably into the late 40s, early 50s. But there was so much activity. If you look at I look at a lot of records like you guys. I mean, this is kind of a passion too, and that kind of came along with Scout Check of just knowing the background and seeing all those kind of names in the records and such. And that's sort of the lineage. I mean, I've got it on both sides, but that was just mainly, I believe, it's kind of like now it phased into coal, like in the 70s, where a lot of people locally worked in the coal mining and exploration business. In the 1930s, 40s, 50s, those same people were in the oil business in some degree, some fashion.
Yeah. So your great grandfather and has all of y'all's history in oil been primarily in the Petersburg area?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
That's really cool.
Pike and Gibson County.
And Gibson. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a great area.
So before so you mentioned that you were involved with horse racing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before you turned 23 and you came back to Petersburg and got into oil, what were you doing? Were you thinking, I'm going to listen to mom and dad and not do oil?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, I was so really invested to a degree still, but in horse racing, later on horse breeding, we still have a mare and one horse in training, one brood mare. But oh gosh, yeah. So I went to the University of Kentucky out of high school, and that was sort of unusual for Pike Central kid, But yeah, so that was along with that. Plus, my dad bought his first horse in 1985, so I think I was a sophomore in high school, and that really amped up. So that's what I wanted to do, and I did. I started from just a hot walker groom up to eventually, and I think I was 21, I got my trainer's license. So I trained for my dad and a few friends during that time. But that just, the racetrack that's a 7-day, you talk to people that do it, 365-day-year commitment, and it's moving around. Even if you're based in Kentucky, you're maybe moving 3 or 4 times a year.
Yep.
So when I got married, 1993, we moved back to Jasper and commuted to Petersburg, but that was still horse racing related primarily. But it just then sort of just because I was there.
Yeah.
I ended up back in the oil field
Yep.
not too long after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You heading down to Kentucky this weekend?
Not this weekend. I went to Keeneland. Melissa and I went to Keeneland a couple weeks ago, and that's always enjoyable. And she went for opening day on last Saturday.
Okay.
But this weekend, I'm working on the report. So
Yeah.
So you're not going to be there. Yeah. So you got back into the industry when you were in your early 20s and kind of through the family connection. What kind of made you decide this was the industry you wanted to be in and stick with it? Like, is there anything in particular?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the first, I'd say 5 or 6 years. I had some time to sort of learn the office side of it, as far as, what it was all about, why these wells are here, why oil is here, so to speak. But so it was a tough way to go. Field side's challenging, but it's so rewarding. The other side of it too, the engineering, the geology is great too, but it has its own rewards. But there were a lot of times there where, and it's not strictly one thing in the oil field. You're wearing many hats. You're on a pulling unit one day. We drilled some wells too, but gosh, just all and you had to, I don't know. I think I'm more built for what I'm doing now, but the field side it's challenging but rewarding. But that really gets you then to know the full spectrum of things that go on out here. So I don't know if there was anything specifically any one thing that stuck, but really, I think in 1999, 2000, there was a large coal mine put in near Petersburg, in the same area where we work. We had to plug a lot of wells out for this mine to come in, and I actually lost 2 or 3 employees to the mine. So I had to morph over then into the kind of the just the office, the management side of things. So we lost our main kind of bookkeeper, accountant, regulatory compliance person. So that kind of moved me in more into this this reporting type deal that I do now for regulatory purposes mainly. But also to go through a lot of this physical material that I evaluate now, such as well logs, completion reports, filling all that stuff out. So that's sort of where I got that. That had been about 1999. If you remember that at all, 1998 was pretty brutal for the oil business.
Mm-hmm.
We had as low as $8 a barrel for our price, and it's tough times. So, but how it is in a commodity-based business, you're in
absolutely
it for the long term. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And those moments really force you to fine tune and stretch and figure out what you're doing, maybe even add other things that you can do and experiment.
Yeah. Really was. Yeah. We had some good production came on at the time, and of course you're joking, thinking, why couldn't this have come in when oil was such quite a bit higher? But then you look back and you think, wow, this got us through the tough time.
Yeah.
It worked out. Yeah.
Absolutely. So so your love for the industry, then fast forward you said it was 2023, right? That you purchased Scout Check. Is
24?
that right?
Yeah, late 24, actually.
Okay,
yeah,
24.
December 24.
24. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how long had you been reading Scout Check?
I'd seen it, the old ones. You know, kind of we never took it. Kind of my dad was, like a lot of small producers, they're focused on their job. They kind of want to know what's going on, but they hear a lot by word of mouth and just, gathering around. So to really subscribe, that wasn't really, but I'd seen a few. It was 2003, I believe. There was a big discovery in Illinois under Forbes Lake, I believe is what they call it. And these were huge wells, like 2,000 barrels per day.
Oh, wow.
Horizontal wells. And so having heard sort of through the grapevine, I'm like, we need to kind of know about this kind of stuff. Yeah. So we started taking the report, and that was just awesome. how Jim at the time that owned it reported it, and all the players. It kind of and a lot of people I did know that were involved with the process. So kind of opened my eyes to a bigger picture of the tri-state, because Illinois just wasn't in my area of thought.
When I first moved here, and so I was over in Ohio and doing stuff in Eastern Ohio, and then that project had ended, and I came over here, and I was like, am I going to need to move back to Texas to find a job? I want to stay in oil and gas. And then I found out, oh no, Illinois actually has oil. Like coming from Texas, we never heard that,
Right.
And then to find out it wasn't just Illinois, it was, it's called the Illinois Basin, but it was Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, all of these things. It's a bigger world than I ever knew existed. And like you were saying, like you're there in Pike County, Petersburg, and focused on that area. And then, but you're drilling in the same thing, the Illinois Basin, as these guys over here. And it is a really cool, and the history of the Illinois Basin. It's just incredibly fascinating.
Yeah. From the, I guess, back into the 1800s, and wasn't too long from the Drake discovery in Pennsylvania in the 1860s. But we had, I think near Petersburg, there were some gas well discoveries in the 1880s. And,
oh, wow.
I think there was some maybe oil discovered in around 1914 or 1915 in the southern part of the county. But in 1916, I believe, there was a west of Petersburg, near just the area we've always worked. There was oil discovered there on the Thomas farm. That was 1916. And that well, one of the original wells is still producing today. It's over 110 years old, so could drive you to it. We owned it from 1968 to 2010. We sold it, but it's still going.
That'd be awesome to see. Yeah,
it'd be awesome to see, and it's also awesome. Like, I mean, I can tell that you love this kind of thing, but it's like you guys owned a piece of history,
Yeah. It's kind of like one of the things you think, well, that might be worthy of a monument or something.
Right. Yeah.
It's still being there.
Yeah.
So
really cool.
So let me ask. So you went to University of Kentucky.
Yeah.
What was your degree?
Just for a year. So that's why I say for the year I went, talk to people in the horse business, they spend more time at Keeneland than they do, in class probably. So, but that really was after I got out of my freshman year at UK. I went to work at Ellis Park, and that was really kind of it for me. That I liked it so much. It's like, 7 days a week, give me more. You know what I mean? So, I didn't go back, but that's something. It's kind of ironic that my major was going to be journalism, and here I am now.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had,
right. Yeah. So I was, WRFL started at that time, actually, and that would have been what I would have gone into. That was their college radio station. It's there today. And so that's pretty cool too, to see them kind of fostered at the same kind of moment right there, to go back and see that's still this kind of a, independent public radio station that's, everything's corporate now. So it's kind of nice to see that, but that would have been my thing. But yes, certainly I got moved off onto the racetrack side, and that's where I stayed.
That was it for you.
Until the office. Yeah.
I mean, you never know what your life, what direction your life's going to take. Like, that's right. I moved up to Bloomington, Indiana, to pursue my master's and PhD in English literature, and here I am running a land business.
Yeah.
Land. So you don't know where things are going to go, but it always sometimes circles back too. So it's pretty cool that you've landed the scout check. Or the scout report. So when you purchased it, what surprised you most about what was involved, or maybe was it a pleasant surprise? Maybe not a pleasant surprise?
Yeah. Some of both. I mean, mostly pleasant. I think it's just the nature of two people like the Jim and Cindy that, I got the report from. Jim is just so, meticulous and regimented that, his system for putting it's just such a wonderful system that I kind of inherited, to put the report out. the daily duties and the schedule he had. I'm just more ADD, like, but his system kind of, it's sometimes doesn't mesh. So, and that's good. People have different sort of ways to approach it, but so the system in place was great. He left me a wonderful foundation over, gosh, he'd been doing it, I guess, 35 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had it down. He had all the contacts, all the the people that really make things happen, and sort of the people that, there's just such a gamut too. And that what probably is maybe the downside of things is that you have just some people that aren't willing to say anything on the record, but off the record. So I would say that going from a private business on where you're just keeping your head down, doing your own thing, and then going to, hey, now I got to make phone calls, text messages, emails, which I like, but you're going to get some rejection, and that's that's part of it. So that may be the downside, but you have to, if you have the passion for it, that gets you through, and then there are so many great people out there to work with. That's another pleasant part of it.
When we first started running our company together, like, I'm trying to find, okay, who's doing something. I wish I'd known about Scout, it would have been a lot more helpful. But I would go on to the Indiana Department of Resources and go to this is their weekly drill list, Right. So I'm assuming you look at some of that, but I'm assuming you do a lot more than just that.
A lot of my base is that. So when I put out the Rotary report, of course, a lot of that is contacting drilling rigs.
Yep.
And that's really bread and butter there. Those guys are also great. But a lot of it is, I have a long list of bookmarks that I check every week. Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, a few websites for each, the Geological Survey, Indiana Department of Natural Resources, and they're very good. It's very interesting, the differences between the states. I've counted on so long to the good resources that we have in Indiana and the program. I could just, okay, here is where I need to look for this. Mm-hmm. Then you go to Illinois, and it's great too, but you have to it was what they say, steep learning curve to get there. But that's moving along pretty well. But so that's a lot of it, I would say. Checking my, kind of running the traps, as they said. But then it's Monday morning. It's mostly text now. I'll text several different drillers, geologists. That goes Monday, Tuesday, up to about mid-Tuesday morning, and then I'll have stuff gathered for my Rotary report. I think you may have that, or you have a chance to review that.
Yep.
So most of what you'll see in the Rotary report is that's all based on, and some of that is the new permits. So I'll scope those out. Those states aren't. Illinois is right on the button Monday morning. Indiana might be Wednesday, it might be Thursday. Yeah. Kentucky may be, and I'm
with you. I remember, because those were the three states that I would look at, and Kentucky was always a little bit different. Illinois was it didn't matter. It was
Monday morning, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but and then I'll look at Indiana will. Their website will post the applications to drill, and Kentucky will post the map for the application, but not the whole application. Illinois won't post any of the application, but they will post other things that are of great value that the other states won't. So kind of navigating that aspect of things is different, but it's sort of, I don't know what the actual mix would be, but still talking to the people, operators, geologists, engineers, say drilling rigs and tool pushers and things on the rigs. That's still most of it. Just that kind of phone call, and then I try to sprinkle in obviously more phone calls throughout the week, emails, just to see, as far as getting out ahead of this reporting. you'll see in the progress report, I'm always looking, I'm always combing the sites again. And then not only that, but if the physical scouting, that was what that's the only thing you had for many, many years.
Yeah.
Now they might have had, if you go back and you look at some of the history, they had 10 scouts, 15, 20 scouts, and now it's me, and trying to put the report out and travel 150 miles to see one well might not just happen all the time.
Do you still go out and travel to see them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do. We try to make it, a kind of work it in. But yeah, I've been up to Marine, Illinois was the last one I think I went to, which is not far from St. Louis. That there's wells that extend all the way. You'll see a few on I-64 there within 20, 30 miles of St. Louis. So you can drive that way. And then there's some, actually right now, Springfield, Illinois, that area is popping. So good stuff there. And then hopefully Kentucky will come back, and Indiana. That's really what I'm looking for, because again, it's what I'm most familiar with, and love to report on stuff that's going on locally.
Yeah.
So when you drive to these wells, you're actually reporting on what's happening there, like you're
what's happening,
a little bit of a story, and
hoping to get and those exclusives. Those are things like any journalist. That's what we're wanting. We want to be out ahead of the state posting it for everyone. We want to say, Scout Check has learned that this, or Scout Check sees pumping equipment on this well, and so that's like I say again. Some of it's you can only get so much on the record, but going out there and seeing it is still worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so there were 2 owners before you. Is that what you said? You're the third.
That's right.
Did you have a period, like a transition period, where the prior owner helped you find your feet?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. So let's see. I think in October of 24, I went down there in Tennessee, and they're putting the remote out, but it had been in Evansville for a long, long time before that. So went down, spent a day with them, and then Jim helped me tremendously. I think I just kind of got thrown in there, kind of in a good way, is that in January there's not a lot of field activity, so it wasn't like I come into 10, 12 rigs running at the time. But he really got me on my feet. Probably I'd say 3 or 4 months, and then I just had to fly. So that's where I am now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So do you know much about like the history of how Scout Check started?
I do. More so, we did a presentation for Indiana Oil and Gas Association in October, and I'll send that to the slide deck to you.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
One thing I have found in research for that, I'm looking actually where I've saved at newspapers.com geek. So I'm look back in the Evansville Press and the Evansville Courier, you're seeing front page news on oil discoveries. So look at that, and some of the pictures that were sent to me. Jim had some pictures, but we compiled a nice history from various sources. He had a lot of things in his database as far as the old times, but I'll still go back and look throughout, like I say, again, plug maybe for newspapers.com, but just a lot of stuff. So kind of know the history in there, and it goes back way before 1960. 1960 is when Scout Check started, but before that, there were independent scouts for oil companies that existed here, and then there were individuals that just put out their own reports.
Okay.
And so that goes back well into the 1930s.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the original purpose? Like, what would you say that they said as their mission?
The whole thing was that kind of everybody wants to know, companies want to know what other companies are doing. And at that time, it's not like it is now. There's been thousands and thousands of wells drilled here in the basin, but and people still clamor for information. I mean, don't get me wrong, but at that time, companies again had their own scouts. So this was like Sinclair and Texaco and big companies, Shell, I guess. So Sun Oil Company. they all had their own scouts. Eventually, they got together and formed a check, which that's the name Scout Check for the purpose of sharing information. And they would all meet in Evansville, I think every maybe say Wednesday at the Kennel Club, I believe. And then they would meet in like Mount Carmel on another day, and they would compare notes. And this was all from, again, this again for the scout purposes. You know, you can imagine guys in a tree with binoculars or something. See?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, now it's morphed. I mean, I'm not in on this at least yet, but you can imagine now it's probably drones. I suppose. Yeah. It's aerial coverage and
yeah, absolutely,
cell phones and this and that, which we see a lot of social media. So
yeah, well, yeah, that's interesting. So like even at the landman level, back when we got into it in Texas, you were taught if you ever left your microfilm machine to turn over your papers to hide what you were doing, right? Because it can be a very secretive industry. So I'm curious. Do you ever have oil and gas companies or drilling companies who ask you not to disclose what they're doing?
Yeah, and I'll tell you a story, and you can appreciate this. I've been run out of at least one courthouse just from aggressive landmen.
Really?
Not you guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was doing a big New Albany shale project. It was a local project, but we knew a lot of people in kind of our Pike Gibson, Knox, Davies area. And, oh, gosh, yeah, there was some, they were big land plays. It's exactly how it is. And we don't see that much here, but it's like, yeah, they did not want me there. You know, that they had, this is our county, right? I'd say there is some reluctance in some companies' part, but it runs a gamut there. And I can see why having, you may have a 40-acre lease that you just cannot get the adjoining landowner, and something gets reported out and the price goes up. I mean, obviously for buying land, and so that's understandable. Most companies will have their land in place before they take on something big, but sometimes it's hard to get. Yeah. So they don't want to get that out in the press too early.
But that's interesting. So so your job is kind of the press for the oil and gas industry. You are there, making it known to the industry for the good of the industry.
I feel like now, for sure, we have to really be champions of the basin. We all should be. And of course, it's easy for me to say now in my current role, but sharing of information is so much more key now for it's imperative that we keep our service companies intact. We keep our land companies intact. All this, it has to be in place for us to exist. So, I feel like need to be a champion of the basin, and for the large part, report on not only what's going on the micro level, but this macro level of there's a lot of oil left here. So keep positive about it, and through the ups and downs, we're kind of on the upswing right now. But I think a lot of people are skeptical of it, and really not wanting to commit the dollars yet.
That makes sense.
Is Scout Check pretty unique to the Illinois Basin, or are there are there other Scout Check like entities in other plays?
I think because I believe there is. I think Scout Check is trademarked. I did Google it. I think there's a Scout Check in Indonesia or something like that. It has the exact same name, but it's the same same sort of deal. But I think it's S&P Global now. They're kind of the only other ones and they do it on a huge level, all throughout the United States. So they do it, but a lot of the small ones, I'm sure, have kind of faded out just because they've been bought by S&P, and that could have been an option. That's what Jim and I didn't want to happen, as I think they probably would make some advances to it just to kind of knock out any competition that's remaining for them.
Yeah, well, that's cool. So this is a pretty unique thing to the Illinois Basin.
We have two publications that I know of in the tri-state, and that's ourselves, and then Roughnecker, which puts out monthly, and they do permits as well, but nothing on progress.
you moved to technology. So it used to be print. So I've got to ask, are any of the new developments in technology either helping you at all or giving you pause, especially you got to think of AI and things like that?
It's pretty cool that what we can do with the report now, especially in the advertising, I think section, and featuring the different professional organizations too, links to their website, just on the business cards even too. That's what I kind of want to get into more is, linking them up. But yeah, certainly AI with reporting. I mean, I think it could be scary.
Yeah.
Maybe it could give me, but I'm not sure. I feel like this information has to be correct, and that's something we pride ourselves a lot on, is getting correct information. If one just, you can imagine if a hole is drilled to the depth is 1,779 feet, but it's reported as 1977. Just that's 200 foot.
Yeah.
So, if that perpetuates in technology and all of the information is false. So I think, this kind of still hands-on approach is going to be appreciated and valued.
Yeah.
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 Do you have a
Absolutely.
pretty strict editing process? I'm guessing.
We try. It's hard to keep it kind of all every week under control, but we look at it. Like I say, we take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are going to be some turnarounds. The older I get, I do those turnaround in numbers. So, but I'll have my eyes on it.
Well, I'll say you sent me what you send out right after you and I talked about being on the podcast. You sent it to me, and it's great. I wish I had known about Scout Check 14 years ago when we started our company, because we're originally from Texas, so Brandon came up here for IU, and I was over in Ohio, and we decided to start our company here in the Illinois Basin, and it was pretty tough starting out. And I wish I had known about a source like Scout Check, just having your name out there on this weekly report, so that, because the people that we want to do business with are getting this,
Yeah, but like you say, I'm surprised too, and I appreciate the kind words. I've had more than a few people that, hey, seeing the customer list, I'm like, reached out to a few people. Oh, I didn't know this. Like, wow, you did. I just assumed, right?
Yep.
Kind of knew what was going on. But so that's been good. We've experienced a little bit of growth already, and kind of now trying to capitalize on, what people do believe to be sort of a short-term phenomenon, and you can't blame them because we've been through so many ups and downs in the cycles. But trying to capitalize on that too. But yeah, we've seen some growth, and we're pretty excited about the future.
Yeah. Well, with that, obviously people, this may not come out for a few weeks, but so who knows what oil will be at that moment. I feel like it's, but what are you seeing right now in the Illinois Basin? I know that people are hopeful. I know people are seeing there's definitely a little bit more production. So, you look at the data all the time, kind of way more than us. So what are you seeing in the Illinois Basin currently?
Currently, there is activity. There are many, many wells that you would not have seen pumping in 2024 or 2025 or up into 2026 that you can drive around and see. My current saying is, if you're not pumping, you're not trying. That's kind of my saying right now. But most people, if you ask, and I think it is, Brandon was talking about IOGA. They had a panel discussion there, and pretty much it's concentrating on workovers of existing well bores, trying to get something that's what we call behind pipe. Maybe there's some different zones, reservoirs that might be productive that haven't been tested yet. And so that's what people, they use the term low hanging fruit, in the industry too. But that's what we're trying to get it on quick, not commit the dollars to not only land buying or leasing. It's tough for you see this. I mean, it's tough for a myriad of reasons. Competition from solar, wind. I mean, the extraordinary amounts of money that they pay for those leases. So that has kind of. However, what another thing that I'm seeing, not only that, so we're not getting a ton of drilling. We just have really got started back in the last 2 weeks, but I think we'll see more of that coming up. As far as price wise, it's a difficult thing to say. Although we're at record production in the United States. At some time it'll go the other way, just because you know this yourself. Yeah. Shale in Texas, Oklahoma. That's the final frontier. What they're doing at this point onshore. So you're going into the source rock and you're putting these humongous fracs and 3-mile laterals and stuff like that. So I am bullish on price. Over the medium term, maybe not certainly the long term, but I'm pretty bullish the next 7 to 10 years.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's great to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I know that, we had one client that, and a lot of people are like this. I mean, there's a price point. It's like, if oil is under this, we're not doing anything. We'll keep producing the wells that we have, but we're not going to go in and do anything else. And and so it'll be nice. I think it'll be very nice to see the Illinois Basin active again.
That's certainly where we've been 2024, 2025. Very, very little activity as far as, and it is surprising now. The 2 phone calls I made yesterday, an operator and a geologist, and they were both like, I can't believe there's just nothing. There's still just no work out there. But the one thing I did want to mention too, IOGA and such, and knowing that the permit transfers, and I think we talked about this a little, Jeremy, yesterday, was consolidation in the basin. Fewer and fewer operators, the same amount of wells roughly. But I think from maybe year over year, 20% consolidation in operators, which is
wow.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, it is.
And so with what's consolidation and bigger funding, lots and lots of money still out there for drilling, but labor is still a concern here.
Yeah.
But the money is there.
Well, you're providing an awesome service for the industry.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want people to know about Scout Check, or anything that you haven't had a chance to say?
Well, scoutcheck.com, that is certainly an area we need to, that can be improved. The website, we kind of just inherited the website, and nothing has been done with it. But so scoutcheck.com, though, to kind of see who we are, where we are. Scoutcheck@gmail.com is the email address. Hit me with an email and I'll send you a complimentary report. Love to get the name out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I see on here you have some base maps and stuff too that people could request.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and our producer will put all of the information for Scout Check into the show notes so that people can find it. Because like I said, I wish that I had known about it when I first moved to Illinois. I was doing the work you were doing. Well, not even half of it, but if I had known about it, it would have been so much easier for us to be like, okay, here are the connections we need to make. Here's the people.
But somebody had already compiled all that information.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
you got us.
But I think the advertisement that you guys do is great. I think that's just it's a really nice way for people who service, these producers, provide any type of service, whether it be what we do, title and leasing. It's just a nice way for them to be able to oh, okay, here's somebody I can reach out to.
It is. It's funny because, going into it, I'm like, oh, ads. I see so many ads. I don't want to see any more ads. And then, you think about it in that respect, that is what makes it go around.
Yep.
I mean, people, they have to get their name out there, and we want them to be out there. So, like I say, it takes so many facets from land, drilling, engineering, geology. There's a lot of
and that's exactly what this podcast is about, is the fact that land is one. It's amazing, it's the history is just fascinating, but it's been around forever, and there are so many stories to be told, and there are so many jobs that are affected by land. I mean, from what we do to geology to surveying to drilling to building to, it's amazing. It really is an amazing industry to be a part of.
It is.
Yeah. And it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So Neil, we really appreciate you being on.
Yeah. This was great.
Yeah. People can check you out at scoutcheck.com, email you at scoutcheck@gmail.com. Again, we'll have those in the show notes. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The Landcast is a production of Chastain Land and Title. For uncompromising accuracy and land work across oil and gas, commercial, telecom, energy, and more, check us out at chastainland.com. If you enjoyed this conversation, please leave us a review and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And join us each week as we keep telling the stories of the land industry.